Good morning, good evening, or good night, whenever you watching this. This is a live with your boy Boss Up with K. And the Boss Up out the 9 to 5 rat race by finding these gig apps, finding these side hustles, starting our own businesses, learning ways to make money outside the 9 to 5 rat race. We about that. If you like that information, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button for me, please. And also drop down where you're watching this from, city and state, because I always find locations based on the amount of comments I get. Most recently, it's been Virginia. So people in Virginia keep tapping in the comment section, but tap in the comment what city and state you are. And then when I'm going through these apps, going through these videos, going through these websites, I can particularly look for places in your area. You did. Let's get into it. No long talk, no long intro. You know what we about on this channel. What up, my boy Justin Sane, tapping in early morning. Know he out here getting the money. Long time viewer. I don't say subscriber, man. We all family over here trying to get it. Trying to get over on the man, trying to get up out the 9 to 5 rat race, just trying to be better day by day. My boy Justin be with me. We've been going through it the whole time, man. D Nice, what up, bro? Ski? We in here. Hey, my boy trading futures now. Yes, sir. Hey, that's what the name of the game, man. We graduated. We took that money from trade from doing deliveries. That's always gonna be a hustle we can fall back on. But my man is trading futures now. I just kind of recently got into trading futures maybe about a month ago. Doing it on the Robinhood app. Mostly oil futures with the war going on. Woo, been killing and got burnt on some puts, on some short sales. They're playing with the market with this war and everything. But yeah, man, trading oil futures have been very, very profitable for me. Shout out to Justin Shane. But yeah, so we're talking about a gig app that helps you deliver packages. I've talked about it, it's been around, but they're coming to more cities around the country. Most recently in the West Coast, San Diego, California, Southern California area. And what we're talking about this gig app called Veho. What we do on this channel, we actually go into the website, show you how to apply, show you some ins and outs, and I also got some video reviews of other gig app around the country doing this, and they're giving their positive, honest, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, but honest review on this company. And so you can get a feel on what it's about, and so you can get a feel on if this is something you would like to do, something you like to apply for, and if you got the tools already to get started. So Drive with Veho. Of course, all the websites have a drive feature. I always show you guys come down to the bottom, or for this instance, it's right here at the top. And it takes you to this page, Drive with Veho, you register your name, bio, and then you get into the system. Now, after that, they send you a link, download the app, you register on the app, get all your paperwork and everything sent in. Now, before it was a $40 background fee. A $40 background check fee. I do not see any information. When I did it a couple of years ago, I had to pay that $40 fee. Got that money back off to the first route. But I'm not sure if they're doing that still. In my opinion, it is done to weed out a lot of people who are not serious about doing gig app deliveries. And plus, they got to have a background check. They don't want people just randomly going to their warehouses, picking up their packages, knowing where people live and everything. But the whole deal about this is actually getting to the warehouses, actually, picking the route, getting the route accepted. And that's some of the pros and cons I've been hearing about this system is the routes go extremely fast. If you're not on the app around 7:30 when the routes get released, you may miss the route. Sometimes they have routes, people decline them after being accepted. They pop back on the app in the morning a little later. But for most time during that app release time around 7:30, that's when you would want to be on the app to get started. And it says how often you get paid. You know, we about that. 2 to 3 business days. What type of vehicle? Any size vehicle. When I went to the warehouse, I saw little Priuses all the way up to big SUVs, large, cargo vans, conversion vans. People were delivering any size vehicle. And then, like I said, you just sign up on the website there. Of course, they're in the Google App Store and the Apple App Store. Here's Apple App Store, how it looks there. 4.8 rating. But I've been hearing a lot of bad things actually about how the actual app operates. A lot of it's hard on your phone battery. So I suggest everybody go ahead and invest. If you're really serious about doing gig apps, go ahead and invest in a separate phone, maybe like a cheap Android phone, something on like a $25, $35 a month plan through one of these affordable carriers, and just use that for your delivery, doing deliveries. And also, having 2 phones. I used to have 2 phones when I used to do deliveries and Uber and passenger pickup. One app on one phone, one on the other one, and whatever one picks up first, I cut the other one off and get delivering. So you won't be sitting around for too long waiting on delivery. That's a lot of the thing about how people don't make a lot of money doing gig app deliveries. The amount of time you just sitting around waiting for the right order, or trying to cherry pick good orders, or just accepting low orders. You never accept low orders. We never accept orders, lower than $5, lower than a $5 tip. Even though you don't have to worry about this with this package delivery, because you're going to get a $200 to $300 route almost every day. Smaller ones about $140. And so my man D Nice pops in and says, a lot of these apps don't like 2 phones anymore. D Nice, how the hell did they know you got 2 phones? I've never checked and see how many phones I had. I don't know how they would know. Maybe you can break that down, how they know you got 2 phones. But if I got Lyft or Uber or DoorDash on one phone, and I got Uber Eats and Uber on another phone, I don't see how they can tell. If I got Veho and Shipped on one phone, I'm accepting orders. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how they tell. Break that down for me, D Nice. But yeah, so that they say the app is driver centric, but we're going to get into some videos and show you what people are actually saying about this Veho app.
Are sitting in a warehouse parking lot at 5 in the morning, watching a long line of cars snake around the building while you nurse a cold cup of coffee. That is the reality for a lot of people trying to squeeze some extra cash out of the gig economy right now. Veho is one of those names that keeps popping up in the delivery world lately. It promises a pretty simple deal. You grab a route, you drop off some packages, and you go home with a fatter wallet. On paper, it sounds like the dream setup for anyone with a reliable car and a few spare hours to kill. But the gap between what you see on the screen and what actually happens on the road is where things get really interesting. Some drivers absolutely swear by it. They find these sweet spots where the routes are tight and the neighborhoods are easy to navigate. For them, it is a smooth operation. They are in and out before the morning traffic even starts to peak. But then you hear from the other side of the fence. You hear about the person who signed up for what looked like a quick 2-hour block. They thought they would be home in time for lunch. Instead, they are still out there 4 hours later because the route was mapped out by someone who clearly has never driven through city construction or handled 100 different apartments.
So that's one reviewer's recent experience with Veho, and that's what I've been seeing a lot on these review videos, that the organization in the warehouse is terrible. It's taking people 2 to 3 hours to get out of the warehouses. What up, Cass Kids in Orlando, Florida? Taking two or 3 hours to get out of the warehouse. They don't have supplies like markers and stuff to identify your routes. And then once you get the route, they're all over the place. You're zigzagging all through the city. You're going through high congestion spaces during peak rush hour traffic times, and then other times you're going all the way out away from your home. So kind of just be mindful of how you're picking your routes and things of that nature. And you can see some other, put this back on the screen. You can see some other gig apps you can try. Nujitsu, Freight, Dispatch, MedZoomer. I've actually driven for all of these companies on this channel. So I'm going to go back and look at some of my previous videos if you like. But we on the 2026. Some of these video companies have merged. Some of these companies are not paying, not hiring. So going back and doing a lot of updates on a lot of previous companies I covered. And this young lady based out of Chicago, she does a lot of gig apps, Toya Drive. Go ahead and check her channel out. And she's talking about Veho and Nujitsu as well.
Nujitsu and Veho, both of these apps, they operate pretty similar. They have a centralized warehouse where you will go ahead and pick up these packages. Now, depending on your market and where you live, maybe you get lucky and you're in between a couple of different warehouses. But for myself, I'm in the Chicagoland area. There is only one warehouse, one for Jitsu and one for Veho. So if I wanted to go and pick up packages for this app, I have to make that commute into Chicago to go ahead and pick up those routes. Now for Veho, their routes are going to typically drop at 9 p.m. for the next day. So if you want something for Monday.
So I'm not sure if it's location or time zone location. I remember it being close to 8 o'clock, like 7:40, 7:45, close to 8 o'clock when the routes drop here in Atlanta. She's in Chicago, different time zones. So she said 9 o'clock. I'm not sure if that's the basis, but like I said, each warehouse or each city has a time where they drop their routes. So you want to make sure that you're on that app when those routes drop.
Day, you're going to have to wait Sunday night to go ahead and try to pick up something. Now, if you're lucky, you might be able to go ahead and pick up some routes the same day if there are some that are left over that have not been claimed yet. It's pretty similar with Jitsu. You can go ahead and pick up a block for the next day, and you can also go ahead and pick up routes that have not been claimed on the same day. Next, let's talk about the route information given up front. Now, my issue with Amazon Flex is that
Okay, now she kind of going into many gig apps, but all of these apps have the same issue when they, showing you what the route is up front, your distance between location, how many drop-offs, the area. You can kind of see all that beforehand, but when accepting these routes, you have a certain amount of time where you can review all this information, a minute, 2 minutes. So if you're not familiar with the area, if you're new to the app, you don't know how long 96 drops are, the mileage between these drops, you can kind of get lost in the sauce and cause you to have a delivery time of up to 4 or 5 hours, just like this young lady.
Free service that just came to San Diego. It's called Veho, like VEHO. So basically, it's another $10.99. You go ahead and go to the warehouse, pick up packages, and then deliver them to people's house. So I'm like, okay, cool. They had like a little app that was saying, a little offer that was saying 4.5 hours for $103. I'm like, you know what? That's decent. I do Lyft and I do Uber. So I'm like, okay, that's around the same thing. Let me see what I'm gonna do. So I grabbed the thing. I go to the warehouse. Right, you got to be there at 7 o'clock. That's the window that it was supposed to be in. 7 o'clock starting. Why do they not tell you that it's going to take you so long to scan all these packages in? So, boom, I get there. They tell you to go, show your ID. Then you go get the little cart or whatever and start scanning your packages in. It was 51 packages. I had to scan them all one by one. Then you have to get a pen to write down what package it is on the box so that you know when it's going to come up in the route, what stop this package is. So I do that. It takes me until 7:45 to go ahead and do that. All right, whatever. I leave. Then I get ready to go deliver the packages. As I'm delivering these packages, what I find is that most of the packages are being delivered to places that have a they're behind a gate. So like an apartment, a high rise, whatever, behind a locked door with an access code. That is not on the order. So there's no access code. You got to pretty much stand there, wait for somebody to buzz you in, let you in.
Woo-wee. Yeah, that is a pain in the ass. I hated delivering to apartment complexes and gated communities. And with you having maybe 10 stops in one apartment and you trying to get in, some places have where you can just drop your boxes off in a mail location, and some want their stuff at each residence door and drop it off. So each apartment place is different. So that is one thing to look out for, especially if you get a route that's inside a major city. That's where majority of these high rises and these apartments will be. You can kind of catch kind of out in the outskirts in the suburb. That's what I like, going into like a suburb community, a planned community where the houses are real close together, or it's a townhome community where the houses are real close together. You might have 50 houses, 30 stops in one neighborhood, and then you can knock those out real fast. But going to apartments, going behind gates, that's going to slow you down. It's going to take you most of your time. You're going to be sitting there holding stuff, figuring stuff out, not knowing where to go, especially your first time. It can be a horrible experience. And this woman is going through it in San Diego.
Up so that you can get in, so you can deliver this package. You're either able to deliver to the front, or they want you to deliver to the door. Most of the packages wanted you to deliver it to the door. So, okay, whatever. But if I'm standing there at each one for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, or texting a customer and they're not responding promptly, then that's taking me a long time for each delivery. I started at 7 o'clock. I just now finished, and it is 3 o'clock, but I finished basically.
Yeah, so she that mom had a full 8-hour day trying to deliver 90 packages, so which can get kind of crazy. And next we got one more reviewer, and this lady gig out ride with Reed. Go ahead and check her out. 96.
Don't even know. All right. Because I need to take the street route, since my battery is so low, it's going to take me 20 minutes to get to the first stop, even though it's only 6 miles. So there's that. I have a little bit under 3 hours to deliver all these packages. Almost 100 packages. Do you think that I will be able to do this?
Yeah, I don't think she gonna make it. 96 packages, 3 hours, with $120. I don't know if I would have took that one. Do not know if I would have took that one. I need to definitely make about $300 a day. And that's about 5 hours, 120. Yeah, the math ain't mathing, plus gas. Now she's not really driving too many miles, so that's not too bad. But those 96 stops, yeah, it's gonna get rough on Ree.
I'm laughing. I have no idea which ones are apartments, which ones are houses. If they're all houses and they're all close together, yes. But the apartments, who knows? But the great thing about that is this is a Saturday. Most apartments are going to be open. The lobby's going to be, the leasing office will be open. But you all going through those packages and putting those numbers, and there's all those already have numbers, and I'm just like.
So it's a reoccurring theme I'm seeing with Veho, that everybody, once they get to the warehouse, they got to label their packages to put them in their car. The organization is crazy. That's what's taking them so long. So when you first get started, you might want to watch over some of these videos. A lot of these creators have tips on how to get better. And this is one creator right here. His brother, Ramon Norris. He has some tips on how to optimize your trip with Veho.
To need in order to accomplish this. One up is a permanent marker or a marker. You're going to need one of those in order to mark your route when you get there. Don't count on them having a marker. I would just purchase, a set and just have one in your car pretty much at all times, because you can't get there, and if it's full and there's no markers, then you can't even begin to do your route or mark your route, because you can't mark the boxes and the deliveries. So a permanent marker is definitely what's needed. Also, I would encourage you to get some bins and make them either clear and translucent, so that when you are finished sorting your route, you can put all of the plastic or wrap deliveries in your bins in the order that they need to be delivered in. And there's multiple reasons why you want to do this. One is if you have 4 wrap packages, 1, 2, 3, 4, and your 5th package is a box, and the 6th and 7th one after that is packages. Once you get to 5, you'll know, okay, that's a box. 6, because if you look at your packages, you'll see, okay, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is missing, then there's 6. You know that in order to get to 6, you're going to have to do, of course, 5 first, and you'll have either 5 or your boxes in your footwell of the passenger seat. So the packages are put in your car, and if you do need all 3 of them, they can just all come out. It's ready to go with the next left over in my car, because I've had the plastic wrap packages, and then I've had routes where I've had 35 to 50, and the car's to capacity. I don't have any room to put anything in. And if I had a car seat or anything other than an empty car, there's the possibility that you're going to run into some issues with being able to fit all the packages in your car. The other thing I would consider doing, if you have packages or if you have a route that's over 5, I would say even 4 hours, is make sure you bring a snack with you, some snacks if you're doing.
So you got them snacks. All right, so that's that's the Veho app, man. I don't want to make this no longer than it need to be. I'm gonna chop this down and re-put this video out more streamlined for you guys. But definitely appreciate you coming in, checking out this live this morning. It is the Veho app, package delivery. There are a couple other gig apps that do this: Amazon Flex, Jitsu app. I'm gonna cover those as well. But yeah, so partner. Veho Driver Partner, that's the app. They got tips, how to register, issue with delivery, technical issues, how much you can earn. Like I said, this app is one of those things where if you're not on there when they are dropping the routes between 7:30 and 9 p.m., you will miss out. This is a highly competitive app. People want the work, people want the money. And of course, all the good routes get snatched up quick. Probably why that young lady had to do 96 packages for $120. It took almost 5 hours to make that. And I used to make that in about 2 hours, 3 hours doing Uber with the SUV, Uber XL orders. But times are rough. Their money is drying up. These gig app companies are not paying like they used to 2-3 years ago. So make sure you are multi-apping. My man D-Nice said they don't like 2 phones, but they don't know unless you show them you working on 2 phones. I can't remember. Can't see how they can tell that you have one app on one phone, another app on another phone. I definitely can't have the same app on 2 different phones, but you can have multiple apps on multiple phones. I recommend getting a dedicated gig app phone because these apps drain your battery. Make sure you got all supplies, totes, markers, snacks, everything in your ride before you go out and accepting these deliveries, because you could be out all day. And make sure you have a phone charger and all that stuff, because you don't want to be delivering, taking pictures and your phone die, and now you got to go back to your car and try to charge your phone just to finish up the delivery, and you walking through apartment complexes. That's not good. No bueno, no bueno. All right, but as always, boss up. And stay tuned to tomorrow. We drop this content daily. Appreciate you hitting that like and subscribe button. And also we got a couple of things, you can book a consultation with me at creditk.com. Interested in these gig apps, building business credit, building businesses, formatting your LLC in your state, hit me up. Follow me on all social media, TikTok, Credit K, Instagram. You find me at Credit K, YouTube, Boss Up with K. Of course, drop your city and state. And you can pay that light tax, super chat. Appreciate y'all. You'll like the information, man. Buy me lunch today, buy me a beer, whatever. A little $2, $3 here, everything. Supports the channel and keeps me going and finding this content for you guys. All right. All right, man. Later on.